Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the November 4th, 2022 Mental Investor Forum in Vancouver. I'm here with Brett Matich. He is the CEO of Max Resources, which trades on the venture with the symbol MAX, M-A-X. I invited Brett to talk about this very large project they have in Colombia. It's a sedimentary copper district, essentially, that they've staked. They've just started the maiden drill program. It's the maiden drill program. No one's ever drilled this stuff before, so they probably got their work cut out for them to figure things out. Happily, they've got 17 or 18 million in the bank, so that's not an issue. One thing we should probably touch on, because I know there was some concern about it. There was an election earlier this year in Colombia. The new president is significantly more left-wing, I guess, than his predecessor. A lot of people thought maybe that was going to be an issue for the miners and the explorers. I mean, how has that worked out for you?
Yeah, well, President Petro, what he's actually said he's doing, and so in relation to fossil fuels, they're not going to give out any more licenses. They're going to honour the licenses that are there. In fact, Colombia never repatriated any type of mineral license in their history. But they're going to look at different areas. They're going to look at, for example, if there's cooperatives there, and that happens a lot with the gold side, you're going to have to do an agreement with the cooperatives, which is fine if you've got an agreement, but the issues are in some areas you might be trying to do agreements with, say, numerous cooperatives. And the same with sensitive areas as well. So where we're in a prolific coal mining that they actually want to move to copper. So we're sort of in some ways it's helping us. We have all our concessions approved. There's no artesian gold mining. There's no forest. We don't have altitude problems. There's no cooperatives. So for us side, we rather than talk about the politics, we're demonstrating business as usual. So since President Petro came in, we've announced we're drilling, and we're drilling now. But I think it's like any place in the world. A lot of it's where you are, and that includes Canada.
Yeah. Okay. So you haven't had any problems now. Of course, you are drilling now. You started drilling a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I know you're trying to keep the footprint as small as you can. So you're working with man-portable rigs, right?
Yep.
And there's you got a lot of stuff to work with. You got a lot of targets. So I know the program's a couple thousand meters, but I think the intent is to kind of keep going for a while.
Yeah, drilling, we'll just keep going. I think we're going to get more than 2,000 meters done. So we'll be drilling all the way through to mid-December. We'll start again in mid-January. And that's the only gap we have, because we're in relation to, we're not affected by the weather so much in relation to stopping drilling. It can slow us down. In fact, it's a bit of a challenge at the moment, but we don't stop. And we're not affected by seasonal. So, we're looking at bringing another rig in, but the thing about it at the moment is it's never been drilled. So it doesn't matter what you see on surface. It sort of takes you a bit to work out what's going on. So we've started drilling where we mentioned it, what we call the base of this high grade area, and then now we're actually drilling towards the up around 150 meters. We're still working out orientation. We've looked at the base. We started drilling from the east because we really didn't have any choice because of the topography. Now we're going up the ridge and we'll start drilling from the west. So we're still trying to put this puzzle together.
Is moving the rigs down around, and by moving around, I'm thinking in terms of like pads and stuff, is that a big issue in terms of permitting, or have you got a fair amount of flexibility that way?
Yeah, we've got flexibility. What happens is in Colombia, there's no such thing as a drilling permit. So if you can get agreement with the underlying landholders, which we have, you can basically put pads anywhere you want within your concession, all you do is you do have an inspection by the environmental side, but it's like, they go out there within a couple of days.
Mm.
So if you're going to put a pad in, they come out there, confirm the pad. We're really looking at environmental footprint. That's why we're using these portable rigs. You do the portable rigs. I mean, the change the azimuth of a hole on the same pad takes you at least a day, and we're 22 12-hour shifts. But to physically move the rig, it'll take around 3 days.
Right.
And in fact, when we went up the ridge,
Right.
that's double that going. And so we use mills, even in relation to drill core. So drill cores in a tray, it's photographed and then it's sealed on the tray, because then it goes on a mill to be taken through. So drilling wise, you're probably averaging, with those 12-hour shifts, you're averaging between 20 and 50 metres a day, 24 hours, and it depends, whether you're in broken ground or whether the case may be. So it's slow, but it's actually really good for us at the moment, because it's giving you time to work it out. So we go through that. We got a specialist structural geologist coming next week. So it's.
Can you give just, for those that don't know the company, can you give us like the 2-minute thumbnail? Like what is the big picture for this project? I mean, you just started drilling it. No one's drilled it before. This is, arguably it's a max discovery. I don't know how much of this stuff was even known about before. But in the big picture arm wave sense, I mean, what is CESAR?
Okay, so the big picture is there's two parts of it. There's land, building up the land position, and identifying targets that are the mineralizations continue at depth and putting the puzzles together. We're talking a strike over 90 kilometres. So we're picking parts and working it out. So where we are now, it's 20 kilometres of actual strike on Uru. So they're the pieces we're putting together. We're not there to put a resource together. We demonstrate that, is there potentially 20 deposits there? Is there potentially 40 deposits there? The other component is to keep 100% of the project. Keep 100%. The only underlying NSR we've got is with Endeavour Silver, which is 0.5% NSR, which is very palatable. Endeavour came in, so that allows us to build our land position in relation to our applications because of their balance sheet. And concession-wise, we've got 180 square kilometres. So that's the component: prospectivity, land position, hold 100%, and that creates the value for the shareholders.
Okay, there you have it. I mean, it's a very this is a very interesting project. I mean, sedimentary hosted copper deposits. They pretty much always form in large groups because they form in large basins. They aren't very common. There's a few of them around the world, and these tend to be quite large, but they do take a lot of work to get from A to B. This is a pretty exciting deal because they just started drilling, and these guys nailed down one of these things. You'll see them add pounds fast, and a couple of parts of CESAR. It's probably worth noting, and Uru is one of them, at least at surface. They also have significant silver values. One of the type deposits for this area is an area called Kupferschiefer in Poland. And Kupferschiefer is contrary to what most people probably think. I don't think most people even realize that Kupferschiefer is in fact the world's biggest silver producer. It's not a mine in Mexico. It's the Kupferschiefer mine in Poland, which is this deposit type. It's a pretty interesting deal. MAX and the venture, this is one you really want to be keeping an eye on. Thanks for coming by, Brent.
Thank you, Eric. Pleasure.